Hello, welcome to episode 85 of Anime Territory. I'm your host this week, Johnny Rawl. With me, as always, is my co-host, Benjamin, the stinkiest weapon, Shabbing.
Aw, dang it.
I will be honest, until I was doing the wait to do the clap sync there, I did not have, I realized, I don't have a nickname for Ben, so I was frantically searching my page for something funny to say. I almost called you Benjamin Her Memories, Shabbing. But I went with
honestly, the first one's better.
Stinkiest weapon.
You don't want to be her memory?
Not really.
Benjamin, the city of cannons, Shabbing.
Not bad.
This week, we are joined, like we were last week, by the movie crew. We've got Brock with us.
Hello.
And Alex.
Hey.
Hope you weren't sick of them last week, because it's going to be more of us talking over each other this week. But the reason we're doing them again is because they come over every Tuesday for movie night, and movie night the last 5 weeks has been Satoshi Kon related. And that's why we forced them to watch Paranoia Agent last week. So now we're just going to talk about Satoshi Kon's movies / shorts, or two of his shorts. We'll talk about Ohio for a little bit, I suppose. I didn't write it down in my notes, but I guess we'll talk about it just a little bit.
It's like a minute.
And since we watched all of Memories, not just the Magnetic Rose short that he wrote, we will we'll talk about Stink Bomb and Cannon Fodder in there as well. But we'll kind of get to Memories last. So let's just kind of start. I want to get everybody's opinions on Perfect Blue, starting with Brock.
Hold on, sorry. Can we talk about their experiences of the movies?
Oh, yeah. So, what do you mean by their experiences? Like their prior experience?
What have they watched any of these? Basically, have you watched any?
Yeah,
Satoshi
Brock,
Kon?
have you watched anything by Satoshi Kon before movie night?
No, this is all brand new to me, which is how you need to go into all of these movies.
Okay.
Yeah. So the less you know about these movies, the better, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
To an extent.
There, you can know some things. Like you should know that Perfect Blue is dark. Before you get into it, because if you get into it thinking, "Oh, this is going to be light," you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah.
If you want something light, well, then you should get into Millennium Actress. But it's lighter than Perfect Blue in subject matter, but it still tugs at you.
Yeah.
Tokyo Godfathers is, I think, the one that you can tell people the most about. And then Paprika, you can know a little bit about it, but I think, again, just the less you know and the more tired you are, the better for that one. But, Brock, you have not seen any Satoshi Kon stuff. Did you know who he was at all? Were you aware of any of these properties beforehand?
I've heard of the Paprika and the Tokyo Godfathers, but I never got into them.
Did you know anything about them, or you just knew that, like, oh yeah, there's a movie called Paprika that a lot of people say is good?
Pretty much. It's
okay.
Like normally when people talk anime movies, Paprika or Perfect Blue get brought up, but
okay. And you somehow you had heard of Tokyo. You'd probably heard me and Shabs talking about Tokyo Godfathers when we watched it like a year or two ago. Alex, your Satoshi Kon is a little bit more than Brock's.
It's literally just Magnetic Rose and then references to Paprika, Perfect Blue, and a little bit Millennium Actress, too.
You've heard... Okay, so
I've heard of them.
Okay.
I've never had a chance to watch them until... Well, yeah, these nights.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, Ben and I have seen all of these movies before. In fact, we've ranked Kon's movies on this show before.
I take offense to that. You guys never saw Magnetic Rose, unlike me.
That's not a movie.
It's a short. Kind of.
collection.
It's an anthology.
It's part of an anthology.
I will say when I ranked those previously, I hadn't watched them in a while. Or some of them in a while.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we had rewatched...
We watched Paprika.
We did an episode on Tokyo Godfathers way back in the day. That's the only, like...
We did watch, I think, Perfect Blue and Paprika, though.
Yeah, I think we watched them at that time.
Because I hadn't seen them at that time.
Yes. I hadn't seen Perfect Blue at that time. So this is only my second Perfect Blue watch through.
Okay.
This is my third or fourth Paprika watch through. This is my second Tokyo Godfathers watch through. And my third Millennium Actress watch through, I think.
I think I've seen them all 2 times.
Okay.
So...
And it's definitely a different perspective going in. So I know we said the less you know about them, the better it is to go into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also very rewarding going into it having seen it before too. But it's just like you gotta have that experience of not knowing what the hell is going on.
Yeah, that's kind of what you guys did. You were watching me and Brock's reactions to like.
And I was telling you guys, just shut up. Just shut up and experience. I don't want you giving guesses as to what's going on. Just watch the movie because it's gonna take you for a ride. And it's better if you, even if you guess correctly, you're not gonna know if you're correct till the end. So just, and even then, maybe not for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I guess we're gonna want to go into spoilers, I would say, for these next discussions. So let's start with a round robin real quick. Nobody interrupt anybody. What do you rank Perfect Blue, Brock?
Second.
No.
Oh.
Out of 10.
Oh, out of 10? 9.2. I really liked it.
Okay.
9.2.
Shabs,
I really like.
what do you rank?
How can we get a 10?
Okay.
I think it's perfect.
Alex, what is your ranking for
9.9.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta give it a 10. It's a masterpiece. It may not. There's a difference. To me, a 10 out of 10 does not necessarily mean it's a perfect movie. It means it's a masterpiece to me. So, that is why I give it a 10, because I don't think you can do. I don't think I would change anything about it per se. It's not for everyone because, like I said, it is a very dark movie. And it had me on edge when I first watched it. I was a little more mellow the second time when I'm like, okay, I know what's gonna happen.
It's like my second time watching it. I'm just like, wait, what? I've seen this. Wait, what's happening?
What the hell is that?
Yeah, this is coming from the guy who has had. He's been spoiled twice by the same spoiler for something before. He forgot the spoiler. Anyway, so that's okay. So again, before we get too in depth in this, let's go round robin. Brock, what is your ranking of? What's your score, I should say, for Millennium Actress?
8.9.
8.9. Alex, what's your score for Millennium Actress?
9.2.
Okay. Shabs, what's your score for Millennium Actress?
It's like a 9.5.
I again think I'm gonna give it a 10. I'm very generous with my 10s when I think something is really good. When something,
I think it's very close
when
to
I
a 10.
jive with a movie,
Mm-hmm.
I think like this is doing it right. I don't know. I'm gonna give it another 10.
You're like that, and I don't think I've ever given a 10 to anything.
It's fair.
I think there's just a couple things that keeps it from a 10.
I give it 10 to like my top 15 anime series though too.
Yeah.
Because there are stuff that's like it doesn't make the top 10, but 8-0 is a 10 out of 10. I don't know what to say like it. It's weird that it doesn't make it the top 10, but there's a lot of good movies, there are a lot of good shows in the top 10. Okay. Shabs, we're gonna start with you. What is your ranking on Tokyo Godfathers?
8.5.
Okay. Alex, what's your ranking on Tokyo Godfathers?
9.9.
Brock, what is your ranking on Tokyo Godfathers?
9.7.
Okay. I think I'm going to give Tokyo Godfathers 9 to 9.5. I think it is very, very good. I wouldn't change anything about it. I just don't jive as much with it as the other ones. But it's a great Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's a very good Christmas movie.
Not just because it takes place during... It is the perfect example of the atypical Christmas movie. Not just because, like Die Hard's a Christmas movie because it takes place at Christmas. Like, sure, okay. Tokyo Godfathers is about the spirit of Christmas, though, too.
While also taking place during
Christmas. It's like, and it's still a very offbeat choice for a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's such a good time, though.
Yeah. It is a fun time. I love all the characters in that. So, Brock, score for Paprika.
8.9.
Alex, score for Paprika.
9.5.
Champ, score for Paprika.
8.5.
Yeah, you just don't jive as much with
Don't
Paprika.
jive as much with Paprika.
I think I'm going to give Paprika... I want to give it a 10. I think I got to give it a 9.9.
Okay.
Look at you right now.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I got to put my own personal, feelings away sometimes when I score. And sometimes I'm like, no, it's all about my personal feelings. And I'm just trying to think, okay, there are... I can see the seams at times of why, Ben doesn't jive with it. Even though I really like it. I think I ranked it number 1 when we did Tokyo Godfathers. So there is our, hopefully not too spoiler free, of the movies. Do we want to do that for the shorts and memories real quick, or just save that for spoiler talk only?
Save that for spoiler talk.
Okay. If you want to know what we thought about memories, and you haven't seen the rest of the movies, I guess you got to go watch the movies then.
Yep.
Okay. So now I want to get spoiler thoughts. Alex on Perfect Blue.
Just watch the movie.
Okay.
I have nothing more to add to that, honestly, because saying anything just completely ruins the movie.
Okay, but this is for the people that have seen the movie.
Go watch it again!
I think Perfect Blue is very much about, creeps. It's
kind of, yeah.
Internet. And
I'm gonna have to gather my thoughts. Brock, what are your thoughts on Perfect Blue?
When you have watched it with someone who hasn't watched it. And watch their reactions. Because that's what I plan to do to this movie.
This is like taking a shot of Lord. It's like, oh, you haven't seen Perfect Blue? Here you go.
No.
It's
like you get something really, really tasty, but you get to experience somebody be like, whoa, holy shit, this is really tasty. It's like the opposite of Malort, because Malort is pain.
That's true.
This is not necessarily pain.
I don't know, man.
It's more
stress
like,
you feel while watching the movie, though.
What if it's like a Hellraiser thing? Pain and pleasure mixed together. It's like watching somebody solve the lament configuration.
It's like a bowl of Captain Crunch. It's really tasty, but it's going to tear the shit out of your mouth.
You okay over there, bud? Brock's dead, guys.
It's very much a movie. Just to give a little bit of my thoughts on the themes of this movie, it seems to very much be about anti-gaslighting for one, because there's very much some gaslighting going on there.
Don't trust people on the internet.
Well, and it's not. She didn't trust people on the internet. She was freaked out by people on the internet. Mm-hmm. Unless you're talking about meme mania, in which case, don't get radicalized by people on the internet. Don't trust that they are your idol. Don't worship people. Don't put people up on a pedestal. Don't try to make people into what you think they should be.
And don't try to kill people.
Don't hurt people.
Oh, also don't try to live vicariously through other people's lives.
It's.
But
it's also sort of about the loss of innocence. Very much, Mima's story is about okay, hey, you want to be taken seriously? Well, then we are going to take advantage of that, and about how the industry is.
Also, Hollywood bad.
Not Hollywood specifically, but the themes resonate because this industry is inherently about exploiting people. It's
okay. I'm sorry. Tokyo film industry bad.
The reason why it carries over to Hollywood
is so
well.
It wasn't even a movie; it was a TV show.
That's true. It's still Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's
okay. Whatever the Tokyo equivalent is, the Japanese equivalent.
What I'm trying to say is, yes, it is also about Hollywood bad because the same sort of stuff happens. The same exploitation of pandering to the base desires and being sensational for things, and it can take a toll. It's very much hard to reckon with. it's one of those things that, like, for the longest time in my life, I'm just like, there are certain, like, movies that put, like, this stigma on sexualization, and this is one of those where it's, like, very much looked at as, like, a dirty, bad thing, you know, almost like the movie itself, but, like, doesn't. But what the, like, show they're making almost seems to, like, glorify rape sort of thing, and, like, that's just it's very... I watched, I don't know exactly what it was, but I watched something as a kid where anytime I would think of sex, I would think of, you know, those dark feelings, which, I'm not the most put together person in the world, like, and I don't think that helped at all. Is it getting too personal?
Yeah, probably.
I don't care. You guys are my friends, right?
Let's go to the couch now, Johnny. I'll get the notepad out.
I'll bring out the shot of my lord.
When you said let's go to the couch, that could have been taken two ways. You meant therapist couch, but my brain immediately went to casting couch because of the movie that we're talking about.
I went to cuddle couch.
Cuddle couch?
Yeah, you guys are just gonna go in there and cuddle. Talk about your feelings.
What the fuck is a cuddle couch?
A love seat.
Are they related to a cuddle fish? Moving on. Did everybody get to talk about Perfect Blue? Ben, did you want to say anything? I don't think I called on you, but
I mean, I was just gonna say it. I think it's just like almost a perfect psychological thriller.
Yes.
That keeps you on the edge of your seat between what's real and what's dreams or...
Yeah, which is a very common theme.
There are just scenes in this movie that are absolutely gorgeous and, like, technically brilliant, especially in an animated movie.
And then also terrifying at the same time.
And something that's so whimsical can be so terrifying.
So I wanna go around and get your opinions on something here. Would Perfect Blue work and or be better as a live action movie?
I think you could do it. I just don't know if it would be better.
I don't know how you do the ending, honestly, unless you're using like some heavy CGI, maybe.
And at that point,
yeah,
that's basically animation. Brock, what are your thoughts? Could it be done live action, and would it be better?
I'm not sure. The overall movie, I think no, but certain scenes that make you want to feel a certain way would hit a lot harder if it was actually real people. Mainly from what you was talking about and how bad female actresses can get abused.
So the reason why I bring this up is that there have long been like projects that then get put in development hell for trying to make Perfect Blue as a live action movie, but it like the closest we get is Black Swan, which
I haven't seen, so I don't know how.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. But Darren Aronofsky is very much like, yeah, I'm heavily inspired by Perfect Blue for Black Swan. Like, it is a seminal work.
There's a shot in another one of his movies that's very much related to the shot in Perfect Blue with the bathtub. I think he takes
shot in Perfect Blue with the bathtub. I'm trying to remember what that scene is.
I think it's right after the rape scene, where you just get the overhead of her like lying in the bathtub.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thinking that's when she was like, of course I said yes. Like, why I didn't want to do, or of course I didn't want to do it. Okay, now I know what scene you're talking about.
She argues with it, so ish.
You got to speak up because I
know it's like is when she argues with herself to an extent.
Yeah. Because she can't argue with other people. She can't say no to them, but she was admitting to herself that, like, yeah, of course I didn't want to do that, but I felt like I had to.
But at the same time, like, was she actually arguing with herself, or wasn't the other agent there at that point?
No, I don't think so.
No, not after that one. No.
Oh, she disappeared at that point.
Yeah, that's when she disappeared. You don't see her till later.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing about Perfect Blue that I just want you guys to know, this is technically based on a novel called Perfect Blue that Satoshi Kon did not read.
Of course.
He got like the Do you got like okay, that's what
The
it's
plot
sort of
summary.
about, and it's like, and that's a cool name, so sure, but like, he did not like read that book.
Yeah.
Which Paprika, I think he actually did read the book that it was based off of.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And we'll talk about that when it comes to Paprika. The author was involved in that one. Let's move on to Millennium Actress. Any more Perfect Blue business before we move on to Millennium Actress business?
Nope.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Alex, do you have any thoughts about Millennium Actress?
I enjoyed the movie, but beyond that, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
It has been a couple weeks since we watched it.
Honestly, like, I really loved how that movie looked and how it, like, each scene actually flowed into the other. Like,
Yeah,
that
the
is
transitions
the
are
biggest
perfect.
strength in this movie is its
Oh, yeah.
transitions between scenes.
Yeah, when are we talking to people? When are we talking about real life? When are we talking about a movie? What's real in the story, and it's sort of all real, and it's Perfect Blue has a lot of like it messes, all these movies mess with your sense of reality to an extent. Tokyo Godfathers being the least, but also it's the most fantastical. Well, Paprika's the most fantastical.
yeah.
But all of them mess with your sense of reality. Perfect Blue does it through the lens of somebody,
Like psychosis.
having like almost a psychotic break, and it does a lot of repeated shots, and a lot of shots where you're like, oh, is this real life or is this a scene in the movie? And it very much confuses you that way as to what's real.
Also, a lot of like cuts where
Yeah.
they'll have a scene and then she's somewhere else.
Yeah, and
Whereas
it's like,
this
did we
was a
lose
hard time,
time,
more
or did she
fluid.
like? Did she like black out for that
Yeah.
time? What's going on here? You know, we see scenes where it's like, oh, that's her, but it's not her. You know, but she thinks it's her, sort of thing. It's all a lot of like, that's how it messes with your sense of reality. Millennium Actress takes a very different approach to it. It will immediately become obvious when things veer into the fantastical, or not immediately become obvious. It'll be very subtle, and then you're like, wait a minute, we're in a movie. And we have been in a movie for how long? You don't know exactly. You reach a point where you're like, okay, we're for sure in a movie right now, but how long have we been in this movie? And that's,
When did this movie start?
Are we still in it? Are we in a movie?
Wait, was this whole movie a movie within a movie?
I'm fairly for sure this movie was released on VHS, because this was like the dying age of VHS. But it was released on VHS for one reason. Because there is a shot at the beginning of the movie where we see like the end of like her spaceship movie, and she blasts off into space there, and then it pans to the guy watching the movie, and he reverses the movie, and I'm fairly for sure it reverses through the actual movie we're about to watch.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I think that is why they did that, and why they released it on VHS, so there would be some reason why you would reverse the movie. Don't take that as scripture, but I'm fairly for sure that's what's implied with that shot, if not outright stated, is that you are reversing through the movie we're about to watch. Because that's like the shot that it ends on and begins on, is that
The spaceship scene.
the spaceship scene there. Though we pan out before the very, very last line sort of thing, but we see him like watching the line and like talking to somebody on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
I think Millennium Actress is probably the second easiest to show somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a very heartwarming tale about unrequited love, and then a little bit about
pursuit of
settling.
Yeah.
And how depressing that can be.
Well, it's a very bittersweet movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And some people like me like that taste. Whereas, like, going back to like Grave of the Fireflies, that's a very bitter movie.
Yeah.
This one is bittersweet, where I'm like, well, she lived a long life, and she's going back to doing what she loves, which is chasing after this figure.
Mhm.
It's not so much the man himself, but the idea of chasing after this man that she has the most fun in her life.
Do you think this movie has the best ending?
Whew. It's hard to beat Tokyo Godfather's ending.
I guess. Tokyo Godfathers kind of ends on like a...
What?
Dad?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think this one has the most touching ending for sure. The ending of Perfect Blue is very much like, okay, I guess she's put together. And Perfect Blue could have very easily given like a, or is she fine sort of ending, but it doesn't.
See, that's how I read it the first time. Is the, I'm me now. I'm like, wait, what does that mean?
No.
Which you?
No, it's very much a like, okay, I had this psychotic break and I had all these doubts, and it was not just like, do I really think I am this person or do I think somebody else is me? You know, that is more a metaphor for like, hey, I'm trying to transition myself as a person. I was this, now I'm trying to be this, and maybe I don't actually know who I am at this point.
Yeah.
And at the very end, you get up like, no, I'm comfortable with myself now.
Yeah.
I know who I am.
Mm-hmm. Which I get now. It's just the first time I watched it. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
We're talking about these movies and we're going to keep going back to Perfect Blue.
Yeah, well, because it's a very... his movies have a style that basically, well, kind of started with Magnetic Rose, but I don't think we could really... We'll talk about it. I don't know if we can give him much writing credit for that, since it's not an original work, and he did the writing, but it was based off of a short. I'd have to, like, read the manga short.
Yeah, I don't know exactly
to know, like, how closely he follows that, or how much is his own, like, style of writing and what he's interested in pursuing.
But anyways,
Millennium Actress. Yeah, I do think it has the best ending. I think it's the most, like, I'm gonna cry movie.
Yes.
On it.
It's most sentimental, I think.
Which I love movies that are bittersweet, make me cry. So, like, Brock, you were there when we watched when Marnie was there. Like, I get the same sort of, like, bittersweet ending there. Alex is over here like, yeah, you guys did movie night without me for 26 weeks.
Yeah.
No, 37 weeks.
About a year.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's...
Anybody else want to say anything about Millennium Actress? I think it's just beautiful. I love the way he tells the story.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as tense as Perfect Blue is, so I think it's easier to get people into it.
I don't think any of the other movies are as tense as that was.
Yeah, Paprika gets the closest, but Paprika is too fantastical, I think, to really get that tense.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to Tokyo Godfathers, which I guess Brock and Alex find way better than Shabs. And I mean, I still think it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. I don't know if I'm docking points on it because it's kind of just a family comedy, kind of.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
I like it.
I know. I don't know if that's a personal bias of me ranking it lower.
It just doesn't feel like he has as much to say in Tokyo Godfathers. Other than, like,
he's just telling
the kindness of strangers, I guess, can be found, you know, in the humanity. I mean, it's very, I guess what he's getting at is just the humanity found in what we commonly dismiss.
I just realized, I think Satoshi Kon's a genre filmmaker.
I mean,
thriller, then drama, and this is his comedy.
I mean, to be fair, you could always put this as a, like, each of the characters has their own
holiday movie.
Each has their own past that they're trying to almost run from or hide.
They're all running from their past.
Yeah.
And it's like this is not how you're supposed to do it.
They've also all blown their past out of proportion. They are very self-deprecating in that there's no way I'll ever be forgiven, and I'm just a burden on people.
And then when they actually talk to the people from their past, is like, hey, why'd you leave? You should have stayed with us. Everything would have been fine.
Yeah, it's like, so they're very much like, no, nobody wants me, and they're blowing things out of proportion, out of self-deprecation.
And then they hate each other for a bit, too.
Yeah.
And they're a crazy old man.
Crazy old man and a woman.
crazy old woman?
Hannah.
Brock was talking about the old man who dies
Yeah.
drinking the beer.
Oh, that guy.
That's what I was talking about.
I'm like, yeah, Hannah's a little crazy, but she's not that old. She's like middle aged.
Yeah, so I just don't know what you want to talk about this because we've done an episode on it.
We have done a whole episode on it. I think it's a great Christmas movie for the reasons I mentioned before. It's not just it's a great off-wall Christmas movie, and not just because
It is super fun, very funny. There's
Yeah.
some bits in there that are just gut busted.
yeah.
Gin on the bike.
My favorite thing is like the very beginning. She tells that soup kitchen worker, it's like my dream is like to have a baby. And then halfway through the movie, you see one cut of him like in the subway station seeing her with the baby, and he's like, she
What?
did it. It's the funniest thing I've seen.
How many miracles do you think we can figure out that is the cause of that baby? How many
God.
miracles happened around that baby? So, number one that I can think of, first of all, the baby was found when it was thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
Like, right away.
Okay.
Number two, when they needed food for the baby, they found an offering for a baby in a cemetery. And
That
they got milk.
happens. Didn't the ambulance hitting the store happen before?
No, that
No,
was
that's
near the
later.
end. That's way near the end. Because that's how they get to the hospital where...
The guy's running into the girl, and they drop the baby book.
Okay.
Which one are you talking about?
When she goes and gets the food for the baby the first time, and
She like runs into those two
Oh,
other guys
yeah.
with the
Yeah,
books.
she
yeah.
got like a how to care for the baby. Yeah, okay. We can count that. Yeah, so there's three. There's when the baby's... I'm just doing some of the obvious ones here. So getting out of the convenience store like right before an ambulance crashes into it. The baby talking.
The baby saving...
The baby saving itself and Hannah from falling by a
Yeah.
gust of wind, blowing that banner that they were holding in just the right way so that banner would softly land on the ground.
Yeah.
So that's what, 6?
The cab driver.
I mean, that's more coincidence.
Saving the gangs.
Yeah, saving the mobster. That was like...
Kind of stroke of luck, kind of a miracle that they showed up at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe this movie is about finding miracles in the
Mundane things.
not the mundane, but the coincidences sort of thing.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I mean, like the fact that the baby and what's the girl's name? The young girl's name? Miyuki. The fact that when they get kidnapped by the
Italian.
the Latin,
the Mexican guy.
Latin or Mexican,
The cartel guy.
the cartel guy, he takes them to like either somebody he knows or like his wife or girlfriend or something who recently gave birth and therefore is producing milk so that they can feed the baby. The fact that
they keep finding each other.
they keep finding each other. I mean, there's two people with the same name as the baby, Kyoko, that they meet. And you're almost like, these are like, I don't know, this might just be me trying to put something on it, but it's like, it's almost like, hey, this could be like a future version of this baby. You know, like this could be...
I think you're reading into that one too much.
Yeah.
It's just like, why do they all have the same name?
It's probably just a very popular name.
I guess. They find Jin. The hospital that they go to is the hospital that Jin's daughter works at. Because he didn't even know she was a nurse, so like that wasn't intentional. I feel like there's at least one more we can find to get it to an even 10.
I mean, the lottery ticket, but I don't know how much you can put that on the baby.
The cross dress.
Or the fact that the final police officer was...
the angel.
Yeah.
The angel. Yeah, I mean,
Some
the
of that stuff that's like the baby wasn't there though, so you don't.
But
know.
the baby was with them when they found him. No, the baby was.
No, the baby came later. Because they went, like, I got a place we can go. And then Jen was already there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, bringing Miyuki's dad is like police officer. Like, there's all these things that, you know, are happening around and because of this baby. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's just like, I said it before that this is the second most magical baby since Jesus. And I said that before I knew exactly what the origins of this story were, because it's a remake of an old Western called, is it 3 Men and a Baby? No.
It's just like called Three
Godfathers.
Three Godfathers
or something. Yeah.
Which is okay, they're taking care of baby. Which is based on a book, which was sort of a retelling of the story of the three wise men.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there is a direct link to Jesus here. I'm not crazy.
Well, just a little bit.
Like, this is why we say that this is like the most mundane, but also the most like fantastical, because there's all these weird coincidences. The only one that cannot be explained by coincidence is the baby talking.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, a baby that young does not say, "I want to go home."
That could also be.
That could also just be the lady.
That lady going crazy.
Yeah, could be. But taking that at face value, that's the only truly thing that cannot be explained by coincidence. But
maybe the gust of wind.
Gust of wind was a very big coincidence.
Okay.
So, like, again, I'm taking that as a miracle. Like at that point, you're like, the baby just talked. Now there's a big gust of wind, and everybody is safe after falling off of a building.
Yeah.
Which we can talk about that later. Falling off a building.
Okay.
That'll come up again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I don't want to say that Tokyo Godfathers is, you know, my least favorite. Well, I mean, it is probably my least favorite of these movies, but it's just still really good. Like, don't take that the wrong way.
You should definitely watch this movie.
You should definitely watch all of these movies.
Yes. That's why we made Brock watch them. And then Alex was like, "I'll come over for movie night." And we're like, "Hey, yeah."
Okay, but you're watching Satoshi Kon.
Poor Alex. He can't go watch a movie without it being a weird one.
I wonder if he's I like their idea of just going, year by year to pick movies. That sounds like fun. Alright, you can join. Yeah, we're doing Satoshi Kon.
Yeah, we just finished the year thing, so yeah, go ahead and join now. Whatever.
We're gonna make you watch this.
Did we say this in the other episode? Like, Alex's movie-going experience for the first 3 movies he's watched with me were Night of Short Walk On Girl, and then The Outlier, which is
Tropic Thunder.
Tropic Thunder. And then we watched Perfect Blue, and he's like, I just can't watch a movie with you and not have my brain blown out by sheer force of this movie. And then watching Millennium Actress, Tokyo Godfathers, and Paprika probably didn't help.
Speaking of get your brains blown out, Paprika.
I don't even know what to say about Paprika. So, Brock, what do you want to say about Paprika?
Oh, God, I don't know. Don't sleep during the movie? I don't know.
Don't fall asleep.
Don't fall asleep during the movie. That's a day. You'll wake up in the movie. You're like, man, that toaster marching looks a lot like Brock.
You will become a walking
You'll join the parade if you fall asleep while watching Paprika. Which, I mean, I'll say my first experience watching Paprika was at a midnight screening in college at a theater.
Oh, God.
And I was tired at the start of the movie. And I think that upped my enjoyment. Yes, Benjamin.
Do you think there's like a AMV of Welcome to the Black Parade? With the
I don't know, but
we're going to be looking afterwards.
I'm going to make Brock make it now.
I can't make it.
If anyone wants to make a bunch of money, do that.
Well, if anybody wants to put a lot of work in to make no money, go ahead and do that, because you don't have the rights to the song
or the movie for that.
Or the movie. So, you know.
Yeah, somebody should still do that if it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I want to watch it. I'm not going to do it.
Anyways.
Alex, Brock, do you have anything else you want to add here for your own individual thoughts on this movie?
No. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, honestly. Everything. This whole experience.
Do you want me to talk about it? Because I'm the one who's a little less...
Yeah, go ahead.
On it. So for me, I think the problem I have with it is just, I guess, the story, the ending particularly. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if that should be a negative to this movie because it's all about dreams. Yeah, so I don't know if that should be a criticism of it. But for me, even with these like weird sci-fi weird stuff, I still want a semblance of what's happening. I want some sort of logic to it, which I just don't get.
So I think the ending is the hardest logic to broach. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of it can be talked about in. I mean, I can talk about the nature of dreams and stuff too.
Deeper dive into it, you might be able to explain it. But for me, I guess the first half to 2/3, I really enjoyed this movie. It's just that ending, it just kind of falls apart for me.
So, are you talking specifically? So I want to know where, because I think there's a point where the ending kind of begins that I think is phenomenal, which is when the parade is almost like affecting everybody in real life.
That part I really like.
And people are jumping off buildings up. That sequence is amazing.
For me, it's kind of when the big guy shows up.
Yes. So that's kind of where I am with you in that.
Oh, what's that character's name?
It's
the chairman.
The chairman. Seijiro or something.
Oh, when he comes with the new body?
Yeah. So I can try to sort of explain what's going on here.
I don't know if I want you
to. So first and foremost, dreams, not just talking about this movie, but dreams as themselves, in my experience, are very much can sometimes be controlled, and can sometimes you can get stuck in a loop. Mm-hmm. So, like, I will get stuck in a loop even before I'm asleep, where I'm like, oh, hey, you know what would be really fucked up is if you thought about this fucked up thing that you would never ever do, but now that you're thinking about how fucked up, and if you did that would be fucked up, and now you think you're fucked up by just thinking about it, and you just get stuck in this loop. You ever try to not think about something?
Yeah.
And you just get stuck thinking about that thing?
Yeah.
That gets magnified 100-fold in dreams for me, because I'll just be like, oh, hey, you know, there's like a scary witch coming after me in my dream or whatever. But I know it's a dream, so I can just think that she's dead. But, oh no, now I'm thinking, what if I can't be killed? And I can't escape from it. And it's like, and now that's like how I have nightmares. It's just like, there's something that I cannot stop thinking about, and it keeps coming back to haunt me. Nothing I can do can stop it or get me away from it.
Okay.
And that is very much, you know, sort of how you have to defeat the chairman, is to overcome something like that, which is really hard in a dream. So, like, the chairman's whole plan is basically to merge reality in the dream world and to take over, to use his, like, psyche to basically take over the body of young hot doctor.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Because with this merging of dreams and this merging of minds,
he wants to protect the sacred realm
of dreams. He wants to rule the realm of dreams with a new body and have that realm of dreams also be the new reality for people.
Yeah. And he wants to create a new reality, essentially.
He's established. He's basically like the one like lucid dreamer. Yeah. And he's got like a grip on, you know, on this reality. But the combination of what's the scientist lady's real name? Paprika's real name?
Atsuko Chiba.
Yeah, Atsuko, you know, her realization of her love for the scientist, the big fat scientist guy.
That is
Tokita.
Childlike.
Tokita.
Yeah, they describe
like her being finally able to be herself in dreams instead of being Paprika in dreams. You know, she also sort of becomes a lucid dreamer, and she kind of creates a new threat to the chairman that is sort of like how I mentioned in my dreams, that I cannot, like, stop thinking, like, oh, what if they do this or whatever. All of a sudden now there's a character that's not scared of the chairman, and now the chairman is scared of him, and he's losing himself to her power.
Gotcha.
And then she is sort of releasing this control over the realm of dreams there. This also very much goes into a favorite like theory of mine from college, which by no means did I major in this. This is just like a class I took where we talked about this. It goes into like the collective unconscious, which is, you know, when we're sleeping, we're closer to that idea of like, hey, there might actually just be, we're all connected somehow. Because like there's so many instances of similar myths happening around the world to like try to explain phenomenon. And there's just like all these little details that repeat themselves with societies that have nothing to do with each other, that know nothing about each other. And like people theorize that those stories and those myths and all that kind of comes from a collective unconscious, which we are not cognizant of, though we might dip into a little bit in dreams. Especially the fact that now in this world, with this technology, we can merge dreams. We're getting closer and closer to that, which is how it's able to kind of affect people that have never been, you know, anywhere near a DC Mini or those therapy machines that they can connect to. Because it's just sort of tapping into that power and trying to harness it. Which may all be bullshit, and Satoshi Kon is just like, big woman. I don't know.
Big woman. Childlike wonder.
We cannot ask him anymore. It's too late. But sorry, I really went off on a babble there.
No, that's okay.
Alex, did you have any thoughts? I've got more to say about Paprika. Alex, did you have any thoughts about Paprika you wanted to share?
Drug trip the movie.
See, I don't think I'd want to be in a drug trip.
What would be a better this or Napoleon?
No,
I want to be like stone cold sober watching this because I want to catch everything.
It just reminds me of things that I've done. That's what I mean.
It very much has a something is happening.
It is definitely
it's trying to emulate a feeling of an altered state.
Yeah, it's definitely does invoke feelings of altered states and how you can perceive things differently, even though you're freaking fully awake and everything.
Mm-hmm. Like, which is why, like, when I mentioned I really liked it when I was tired and watching it for the first time. Tired is like the only altered state I get into because I'm such a pansy. But it's like, yeah, I think it can benefit from having an altered state as far as like just absorbing the atmosphere of it. But like Ben, yeah, I kind of want to try to catch everything in it. So I would never watch this movie on drugs.
Oh, I wouldn't either. No way in hell.
It sounds like
I think my worst nightmare is being like drugged up and watching people turn into refrigerators.
Well, and like, so we talked about dreams, but it would also be the idea of like a bad trip too, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly like it does invoke. It gives you that feeling of doing it without actually doing the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and the parade is very much the collective unconscious. It's everybody's things getting jammed together, sort of thing too.
Yeah.
But a couple of things I wanted to note because we were trying to figure out like who the bartenders were. And I think they're just sort of the same type of thing that Paprika is at the end of the movie when I cannot keep names straight.
Did I write names?
When the captain?
The lady's name. Paprika's real name.
Atsuko.
Like when Atsuko is separate from Paprika in the dream, Paprika is no longer Atsuko directly, but just a part of Atsuko's consciousness. Whereas I think the two like bartenders are sort of that for like the detective possibly. I will say in the Japanese sub they are voiced by Satoshi Kon and the author of the book Paprika.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice.
So they're almost like maybe not even avatars of anybody in the movie's particular subconscious. They might be avatars of the collective unconscious.
See, because that's like what bugged me about this. Like, why are these two able to affect things if they're not like somebody in the real world too?
They could just be like the.
Well, because like when I have dreams, there are other people in the dreams, and they affect the dream sort of, but they just affect it and only through my perception. But this is giving us, more of a a bird's eye view of what's happening versus one person's perception of what's happening. Yeah, that's the other thing is dreams are very much, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there are some times in dreams where I can see myself, and there are some times when I am being myself. But
depends on the dream, but yeah, I get you.
I'm either myself
sometimes I'm not even
like
in the dream.
I'm either myself or I'm like a movie version of events. And I'm not even there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely had dreams where I'm not part of the dream. I'm just watching something.
This is when I say, like, I can't remember majority of my dreams. If I remember it, it's like a real vivid, weird one.
Well, you lose your memory. Like, it fades so quickly. You have to, you really kind of have to, keep a dream journal or, say it out loud or tell somebody about your dream to really, get it to actually stick in your memory. You can't just think
even
about it.
that, I can wake up and I know I've had no dream whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. That's weird.
I've woken up with no dreams before. But, I also...
That's the other thing. You might just not remember what you dreamed. That's how things start to get...
It's one of those things that's I do have dreams I've remembered. I've also experienced the dreaded sleep paralysis bullshit, but,
I have had sleep paralysis, but it's never been I've never had a sleep paralysis demon per se. I've just noticed that, I am aware of my surroundings and I cannot move.
I think I've had the demon once. Other times I just get that intense feeling of something is about to happen. I need to wake the fuck up.
I've never had those. I've been fully awake and not been able to move.
Yeah, that's literally, it's I'm laying there and my eyes are wide open and I'm looking around and I can't move and
my eyes aren't open.
That is all. I was always completely calm when that happened, except the one time when I was face down asleep. And my face was in the pillow, and I started to panic because I could not breathe.
There was a hilarious time where I had Morgan Freeman playing in the background, and I could hear him and listen to him, which was hilarious. Morgan Freeman.
I said Creed.
It was Through the Wormhole, that show.
Okay.
It was on in the background. I just kind of...
I could hear more than see when I had sleep paralysis, and I could feel too, which I can't always do when I'm dreaming. So literally, we're going sleep paralysis here. We're talking about Paprika. I'm going to tell my sleep paralysis story because Ben was there. Yeah. So Ben would do this thing in any of his classes with one of our English teachers.
Oh shit! Okay.
Where he would sit in a corner and be like, "This is my corner." He wouldn't sit at his desk; he'd just sit in a corner. And he did that sophomore year when he had that English teacher. And I didn't have that English teacher till senior year, and I had her at the same time as Ben. So Ben would sit in that corner, and sometimes I'd go sit over there by him. And sometimes we'd just freak the teacher out, and I would pretend to fall asleep. Except one time, I started snoring, and I could hear it, but I had sleep paralysis. I'm like, I am not asleep. I am aware of what's going on. My eyes are closed, though. I am snoring. I can hear it. I cannot move my arm and wake myself up. And I might have been using Ben as a pillow.
Definitely worked.
Just to mess with this teacher, which I will go ahead and write her name. I just don't want to say her name.
I already know who it is.
Okay. Yeah. Have I told you this story?
No. I know who the teacher is most likely though.
It's not. It's a female teacher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My pencil's not ready. Hand me the pencil.
Were you in that class? I don't think Brock was in that.
No, I wasn't. Yeah. I was in the dumber class.
You're in the dumber. Yeah. Brock, I'll go ahead and...
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah. But it's just okay, I can't say I wasn't sleeping because I was snoring. They don't believe me. Nobody believed me that I was awake. Because it was an actual snore, and I'm like, yeah, I can't move. And I've had that a few other times, but that's the most memorable one in my memory because this is the funniest one. So anyway. Yeah, I mean, this is almost people have sleep paralysis, but they can still move because they that sleep paralysis demon is them imagining something.
I mean, at the beginning of the movie, it was pretty much what was happening. for all the people getting stuck in the dreams is they couldn't physically move, but they was moving in the dreams.
Well, no, because like when they were investigating, she was like moving, and she like oh, there's this like secret hatchway, and she's like going down a hallway, and she's trying to jump over a fence, and oh nope, that's a railing. Like that is so she was moving, but she was in the dream. That was almost more dream walking at that point.
Yeah, because
but
I don't. That's her like being melded with the DC mini, so she's kind of in both realities.
Yeah,
whereas towards sometimes they're like they are asleep, they're in the dream, they're not like in both worlds. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
because like the chief does the thing where he like runs out the window because he's dreaming.
Yeah,
and then later he's like in the bed, but he's still in the dream. That type of thing.
But I mean, yeah, I really like Paprika. But like, I don't know. Did my like explanation help at all, Ben? Did you at least have fun talking about my thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just for me, there's just something about it that's not quite there with his other ones. I really like it, almost all of it. There are some truly great stuff in it. You should definitely watch it. It's just not quite there for me.
Anytime the cop streams are on, that was actually a really good time.
Yeah, I mean, we barely even talked about the cop, but like that's sort of like about movies. Like in his whole the very last scene is
he solves the murder.
He's like my favorite part.
Yeah, he is. Well, first of all, everybody's in love with Paprika because why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
But he comes in clutch quite a bit. But like the very last scene is him walking past all like posters for all of Satoshi Kon's other movies, and then buying a ticket for a movie called like Dreaming Kids, which might have been like a rough title for the next project that Satoshi Kon was working on, which is a kids movie called like The Dream Machine or something like that.
Something like that.
Which is just very much like I'm going to buy one ticket for this movie that'll never come out, and it's like what a send off, what an accidental perfect send off scene at the very end of this movie. But yeah, I mean, I got a very soft spot in my heart for Paprika. So it may be number one, even though I ranked it the second lowest.
Okay. John, our list might be the same.
I think I've got my list now.
My list might have actually changed during our whole discussion, by the way.
Okay. I want to go with... We're going to go ahead. Before we talk about memories, we're just going to go ahead and rank Satoshi Kon's movies. I want to start with Shabs, though.
Okay. From bottom to top?
Bottom to top. Best way to do it. Number 4.
Number 4 is Tokyo Godfathers. Number 3 is Paprika. Number 2 is Millennium Actress. Number 1 is Perfect Blue.
We do not have the same list.
We do not. Okay.
We have there may just be two things swapped, but let's go. Let's go.
List, it's 2 tiers. It's 1 and 2, and then slightly below 3 and 4.
Okay. Brock, I want to go with your list next.
So 4 is Paprika. 3 is Millennium Actress. 2 is Perfect Blue. 1 is Tokyo Godfathers.
It's such a bold choice. It's like I know I said there's no wrong answer, but that just feels wrong. But like I can't slight you for it. I can just be flabbergasted. Does that make sense?
I will go what no man has gone before, and I will accept it.
I'm sorry, Brock, but I have changed my list now.
At the beginning of this, it was Alex very much implied, both of them very much implied that Tokyo Godfathers was their number 1. But Alex is coming out here with a curveball. He's changed his list. And in fact, we're going to get to your list last. I'm going to do mine. I was going to save mine for last, but we're getting to yours last here. Number 4, unfortunately, Tokyo Godfathers. Number 3, Millennium Actress. Okay. Number 2, Paprika. Number 1, Perfect Blue, I think is his best movie. I think I like Paprika more, but I think Perfect Blue is just like, hey, if I had to like enter any of these into a contest of like, hey, let's pick like the best movie, and I had to get like other people's like critical opinions, I would say Perfect Blue scores highest on like an objective critical scale.
Yeah.
Alex, let's go with you.
So, my list changed during the discussion, and it basically cemented on what my number 1 is. My number 4, since we're doing it that way, is Millennium Actress.
Okay.
Number 3 is Paprika.
Okay.
Number 2 is Tokyo Godfathers, and number 1 is Perfect Blue.
Okay.
Yeah. Those were the 2 I kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, in the beginning, it's basically that exact same list, but Tokyo Godfathers was above Perfect Blue, but the whole discussion, I kind of just edged it out. They're basically, like, even for me.
They're all good movies. Again, I want to stress, I can only be flabbergasted by Brock. I cannot be mad.
But you can. You can just, be mad in the comments.
I'm not mad.
If you are mad, please tweet at anime_territory.
Yell at Brock. We'll tell him about it.
We'll tell him.
Take a picture, arms crossed, just kind of looking. Just like, I'm disappointed.
Yeah. That's what you're bringing to this boy. Okay.
Not mad.
I think we all had different lists.
Yeah.
Which there's 4 of us, so yeah. There. But I'm just surprised that our lists were nobody was the exact same. Shabs and I, the only difference is Millennium Actress and Paprika were swapped.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you said that your tier was like perfect, and then
Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress are like 10, if not very close to 10. And then it's like Paprika and Tokyo Godfathers are like 8 and 9.
Yeah. Whereas I'm very much like Perfect Blue, Millennium Actress, Paprika are all basically 10s. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get Paprika the 10 now. I'm changing it from earlier. And Tokyo Godfathers is like a 9 to 9.5. Like that's very much like there are still 2 tiers, but it's the first 3 in the Tokyo Godfathers, which again, it's a very good movie. So is it your first Kon movie, Ben?
What?
Tokyo Godfathers?
No, I think I watched Perfect Blue before.
I think you did?
Or Millennium Actress, I think was my first one.
Okay.
So I think I watched Millennium Actress at our friend's house.
Yeah.
And then later, we watched the other 3.
Okay. All right, so let's move our discussion. Or is there anything else that we want to talk about the movies? Anybody got anything to say?
No.
Okay. Let's talk about memories. The one thing that I had not seen before tonight that we're talking about, and that Alex had, though you couldn't remember like
I did not
half of it.
I remember most of the canon. Well,
yeah,
Cannon fodder.
Cannon fodder. I kept wanting to say City of Cannons. That's the subtitle. And but Stink Bomb, I did not remember at all. I remember one scene, and it's the scene with the chief running around crazy. He was like, "Who did this?" That's it. That's all I remember from that movie. But Magnetic Rose, I remember that one almost the entire thing.
Which, when we were first talking about memories weeks ago and how we were like, yeah, we'll probably do memories. This is before we started the miniseries. You wanted to start with watching memories because you were like, I want to watch Magnetic Rose again.
Yeah.
And I was like, the first one is the Magnetic Rose. That's the one that's Kon. He's like, yeah, that's the one I like. So you sort of knew what you were getting into.
It's a space opera, and space opera is my thing.
Yeah. This feels Magnetic Rose.
This is literally a space opera.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. There's opera in this.
There's opera in space.
This movie is or this short, Magnetic Rose, subtitled
So Memories
Her Memories.
is an anthology of 3 different movies.
Yes. They're all based on manga, one shots or shorts done by the guy who made Akira.
Katsuhiro Otomo.
Did he direct Akira, or did he just write the manga for Akira?
I'll double check.
I need to read more of the Akira manga. I think I read at least all of the first volume and part, or maybe all of the second volume. Which means I just need to start over, because that was back in college. That was...
Yeah.
But Magnetic Rose is definitely, that is the one that is written by Satoshi Kon. And it very much has some of it, and it was made before all these movies that we talked about. It very much has his hallmarks of what is real and what is not. If they sort of explain this as like it's like a computer and holograms, except that doesn't explain why it wasn't getting picked up on their camera feeds for some of the stuff. Okay. Like when Miguel like first runs in, it was like, do you guys not just see that lady? So I'm going with it's a mix of actual ghost and computer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Not just like my consciousness was put into the computer, but like no, there's some actual like ghost shenanigans going on too.
Especially the simple fact at the end of that, there's the skeleton.
Well, there's also the fact that the computer wouldn't know about Heinz's daughter.
Well, so here's a thought I literally just had thinking about that exact same thought. There was a moment when they have to like say to the camera like, "Hey, this is who I am."
Okay. And
when they're breaching in, computer could have pulled up records on Heinz and gotten some stuff.
But it left possibly before Heinz was even started to be
It could be
do his things. He would have been almost a kid when it first launched into space. And
no, I just meant like it might have like gone into their files somehow. Like,
for the shit,
got into their files. Okay,
yeah, connected to the internet.
I guess they didn't mention how their computers don't have a defensive for it.
Yeah, so. They don't have any magnetic shielding, so they had to leave. But guess what? They didn't.
Nope.
But like it's. So we talked earlier, I just want to mention how well this was set up in this movie. We talked about that. We talk about people falling off buildings again. Technically, I guess that happens in Paprika, too. People jump off.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
No. In this, it's very much set up that the shock that Heinz's daughter fell off the roof and died was very, very well set up in this. Because when we first see the little figure that he knocks over and falls off the dresser without him like touching it, but when he was near, that figure looks like his daughter. He sees a little figure, the image when he looks up at the ceiling candelabra or whatever, and it's like that's a kid that falls, and he goes and looks, and there's nothing there, and it's like that could have just been seen as like hey, remember this creepy like doll looking thing? Well, now it's dropping from the ceiling, creepy, and then you're like, oh no, no. And I think that was so perfectly set up. I love that.
But at the same time, it's like I don't think that actually happened to her.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
Because in the beginning of the movie, they're talking about how old is your daughter now.
I think he's in denial about reality too.
I don't know about that.
But see, then if they knew he's in denial, unless they was playing along, they could have said how old would she have been, not how old is she. Unless they were really good friends and playing along with his denial.
His crew knew.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
This is my read of the situation. His daughter died recently. He's burying himself in work. He's very by the books in this movie, and I think he's just taking his mind off of it there. He's not going crazy because he's gone so far crazy he's come through the other side. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
It does. Just being more the horror buff, I'm just all used to the evil spirits doing whatever they need to mess with the heroes and giving them false
that's the same way I feel about it. So.
Well,
that's why I'm on the fence. I'm like, either it did or didn't God. And now
let me continue with my thought process here. So he very much, like when he's fighting off against the Madame, he is very much like, hey, you're just living in a fantasy world. You need to, this is not reality. And she's like, oh, you think reality is better than a fantasy world? Well, let me offer you this choice between your daughter being alive or your daughter being dead. And ultimately, he tries to go, like he sort of starts to go for the alive daughter and be like, oh, you're alive. And then,
see, at the same time, that's when he looks down at his ID that fell there that had a picture of him and his family.
And that's when he chooses reality. And that's when he goes, okay, I can mourn. Like, he's not able to, like, pick up the hologram at one point, and then he is able to pick it up, which is kind of, I don't know what that means. But I think he was presented the choice.
Like, she's trying to present herself as his wife, and then he sees the picture in his wall. of his actual wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's...
Well, I think he chooses reality over fantasy, and that's how he quote-unquote survives this film, floating in space. Not for much longer, but he does, like, survive. He's not trapped in there with her ghost like Miguel is.
I think Miguel's still alive, too.
Yeah, but he's trapped, is the thing.
Because it did, like, in the ending, you did see a couple of dead bodies in spacesuits fly by Heinz there at the end.
Yeah, he's like, these are past victims.
Yeah.
So, like, I think Miguel is there until he dies, and then she sends out another distress beacon.
Yeah.
When she gets it, like, that's how she makes Carlo eternal.
It's
she keeps
the magnetic
replacing
rose, but it's actually a Venus flytrap.
Yeah, no, I choose to believe the sadder thing is that his daughter is actually dead, and his crew just didn't know because he didn't tell them because he buried himself in his work.
Johnny, not everything has to be sad.
Yes, it does.
I'm a Johnny on this.
This
one.
world is rough. If a man's gonna make it, he's got to be tough.
It being Satoshi Kon, I'm more
I knew I would have been there to help me along, so I gave you that name and I said goodbye. You'd have to get tough or die. Sorry.
Why?
I wanted to start quoting Johnny Cash. I'm sorry.
The song ends with him saying, "I still hate that guy."
I still hate that name.
Whatever.
Bill or George or any damn thing but Sue.
Still hate that name.
Sorry, went off on my one. It's very,
That's
very
your
hard to
Johnny
go.
Cash reference for the episode.
I'm just saying it's very hard for me to go off on a country tangent.
Yeah.
Unless it's Johnny Cash or maybe Dolly Parton or American Soccer.
Okay.
Which is sort of cheating because that's just Sci-Fi Dragons some more. Well, one of their members. Yeah, no, I this one, it feels like, I said this to Alex before we started, it feels like this would be like a really good, slightly longer episode of Cowboy Bebop. Like, it just fits in with the vibe of that. Like, there are some, like, fantastical things that happen in episodes of Cowboy Bebop.
The lobster.
I was thinking the clown episode.
Oh, that one too.
That one is sort of explained with science, but it's just like, there's definitely some stuff that is like, okay, this could be a really trippy episode of Cowboy Bebop, and I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. You guys were saying that you would like to see like this expanded into a full movie, or that you would like to see this as like a series. I think it's kind of perfect where it's at.
It's good, but I kind of want a little more.
I think it could definitely be turned into a movie, like a feature length. Yeah, I don't know how it'd be a toss up though if it'd make it better or worse though. Yeah, I just depend on who's working on it.
I feel like you could have made that movie so much creepier.
I mean, I said it out loud when we were watching it, and it was being creepy. I'm like, guys, I love this because I like being creeped out but not scared. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's like
fine.
I feel like you could have done that if given more time. You could just ramp up that atmosphere.
Yeah,
I think sometimes though you can get to a point where there's too much of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, there's a creepy doll over there. Now it's over there. It's over there again.
Yeah, they kind of got in and got out, which is why I think it's fine where it is.
I'd watch it as a movie, I feel like they could have made you care about the two guys on the ship yet some more.
Yeah,
maybe.
They could have been fleshed out a little bit more, or they could have had some stuff happen to them. I just don't know if I would like add things to the beginning or end of this.
You could add more towards the opera singer's story, maybe.
Yeah,
expand on that a little bit.
I think you could add a little more to the beginning, just to like as a setup, because they're like collecting
almost like them
space trash. So
since there was that
scavenge, maybe.
Well, since there was that hologram robot thing, if that met them and talked to them, so they think she's alive at the beginning.
I don't know if that would work.
But yeah, again, there's ways to do it. It's a toss up on whether I think it would work or not.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust anybody to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so okay, now let's talk about this. Who would we trust to do it? Who would we trust to expand this into a movie? Because you can't go like the Christopher Nolan route. He's too technical.
Yeah.
Who's doing the Ava movies right now? Or who did the Ava movies?
I mean, that's still
Hidekiano,
the Ava creator.
Thinking more of a live action person. Del Toro is who I thought of. I'm like,
I can see.
He makes it really good.
No, but Del Toro, he would surely do a Satoshi Kon movie, right?
Yeah, I think he'd make it too weird, though.
It might get a little eldritch horror.
Yeah.
Which actually kind of fits, though.
I don't want it.
The opera lends itself to eldritch horror. You know, that those two can go together.
You could focus a little more on that computer at the end.
I just don't know. My first thought was maybe what's his name? Alex Garland.
Okay. Yeah, I could see
he's done some of that stuff before. I don't know. It's a toss up. Because there's some Annihilation stuff in it. Sorry, in the second one. Never mind.
Yeah, that's in Stink Bomb.
That's in Stink Bomb. I don't know.
I both love and hate Stink Bomb.
Now, the fact that you're like...
I'm pretty lenient on kind of hate that thing. I hate incompetence.
Yeah.
The fact that you're like, we could get Hidekiano, that just makes me think of the documentary The Kingdom of Dreams and Madness, which is about Miyazaki making the Wind Rises movie, and they're just talking about who should we get to voice the main character, and they're like, what if we got somebody that kind of sounds like Hidekiano? It's like, well, we could just go ask Hidekiano. It's like, no, he wouldn't do it. But would he? Imagine that, Anna. What do we got, Anna? So you're saying we could get Hidekiano to flesh this out into a full movie? I'm like, well, what if we did get Anna? No, it wouldn't work. He wouldn't. But what?
And then they bring it in. It's like, yeah, you kind of suck as a voice actor, but we'll make it work. You're right.
And he did a great job.
Yeah, he's great at it.
The movie's great.
That's the one movie we watched subtitled in our Ghibli.
Yeah, because we wanted to get Hidekiano's performance. Mm-hmm. Next time, if we do Ghibli again, we have to do all subtitles.
Yeah.
Except for, I think we need to do the Italian dub of Porco Rosso.
Yes.
Because, like, Miyazaki said he really liked the guy who they got to voice Porco Rosso in the Italian dub. Anyway, that's our Miyazaki tangent. Are we done about talking about Magnetic Rose?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. It's definitely the best one.
Oh,
by far.
It's leagues ahead of the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the third one, Cannon Fodder, it's got a message and I like it, but it's just not as entertaining.
Yeah.
But let's hold off on that discussion. Let's talk about Stink Bomb, the stinkiest weapon. This one's sort of a comedy, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like
incompetence. That's all.
An oblivious guy that doesn't realize that he's the cause of people dying around him. Like
he doesn't know how to read a room.
Several times people approach him and then fall over dead.
And he's like, "What is happening?
Why is my grandma on that helicopter? Grandma,
why are you trying to shoot me?
Was that a bullet?
And his grandma was like, go away. You're hurting people.
Why are they firing rockets? This doesn't make any sense.
How did they not hit him?
Well, and it's just like, I guess the stink is just protecting him.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
I mean, it does come out later, like, it's doing electromagnetic
it's
radiation. I don't buy it.
And all that stuff is going out of the way. And it's just like, and then they contain him in the spacesuit, and nobody like thought to tell him like did the other astronauts die? Is that because there was only the one suit left? Like, why did he think? Oh,
but before they saw that, they saw the 3 suits above a body bag.
Yeah, so I don't know. This movie is just.
This one is a lab technician has the flu, goes into work. He's like, I just can't get rid of this flu. They're just like, hey, take these experimental pills on the chief's desk.
Take the blue pills in the red bottle.
He takes the wrong pills, and now he's a biological weapon.
But did I tell him to take the blue pills in the red bottle?
They told him to take the blue pills in the red bottle.
And he took the red pills in the blue bottle? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, is this what they meant? No.
Everyone around you is dead.
Now he's headed to Tokyo to bring the
they're like
pharmaceutical company's bosses the data so they don't get caught with what they did. With them not
because
knowing
it's
that
technically
he is the weapon.
Yeah, it's government secrets. Blah blah.
And then
blah.
it's just the incompetent Japanese military government trying to stop him.
And then the U.S. government successfully contains him, but then they just let him go up and deliver his package, and I'm like, oh, let me take this spacesuit off.
It's getting stuffy in here. No.
And then it's like, all right, that's whatever.
Oda kills everything in the Yamanashi prefecture, including all 200,000 inhabitants. He killed 200,000 people.
Plus, because that's just in that city, and
he was able to get into Tokyo.
So,
yeah.
To be fair, though, that at that point he's killing corrupt government officials.
Those government officials weren't necessarily corrupt.
Just
I mean,
incompetent.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, it's not just incompetence. There's a force that stink bomb was like. There's no way them ordering kill the guy is the incompetent move there. They made the right call.
No, incompetent is not collapsing the entire tunnel on him.
Yeah. Why didn't they do that?
They just collapsed the tunnel on him.
But all the rubble this thing could have got through.
They also don't.
But
know.
he would have been
They
dead.
also don't know.
Eventually,
I get it.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean, are we done talking about stink bomb? It's the worst of the three.
Yeah.
Cannon fodder, City of Cannons. The thing I'm going to say about this one is it did not feel like an anime. The animation style is very different than most animes.
Mm-hmm.
It very much
has that European.
Yeah, it feels like
an Eastern European, maybe even Russian.
Being like, hey, Nazis are bad. Look at this movie that is very not subtly about Nazis. To the fact that they have like the SS symbol. Anytime there was an S in a word, it was the 2S SS symbol.
The one time we saw someone with a mustache.
No, we saw two people with mustaches.
Oh, most of the men had mustaches.
Okay.
There's just the one who was a head guy, who was like
is very
a cannon commander.
I know we made a joke about like how long it took to load the cannon, but that might have been my favorite part of just being like, look at this intricate procedure of like we have to do this.
And to be realistic, if you're loading a cannon that fucking big, it would take that long.
Yeah. Which is why they have like 17 cannons, because I'm like they could have one firing while the rest since it takes so long for one cannon to fire.
But it's also to have them in different directions.
Well, yeah. But again, we basically just decided, because we never see who they're firing at, that we're fairly for sure there is no actual threat, and it's just a way to keep the working class subjugated. Is the message
like for
that
a moment
got
they
there.
pan over and it's just like a barren wasteland with a couple craters that I assume was from their old cannon shots.
I didn't see that.
It's also implied it's a moving city that they were shooting at,
which implies that they're on a moving city.
Yeah,
being like chased or whatever. But it's just like I think it's just a way to keep the worker class in line. Is this fabricated war of like okay, you can't see it because all the smoke and we're firing from so far off and. It's very much the combat is removed from actual like danger.
Oh, yeah.
There was like a little bit of an alarm like sounding in the middle of the night at the very end that I just don't know that he just slept.
Silent kind.
Yeah, he slept through no problem, which makes me think that happens all the time, which makes me think there's not an actual threat.
Or maybe when you're just grown up with that threat constantly, you can just ignore it. Sit through it.
Yeah, I think it's very much about the military-industrial complex being used to oppress the working class, and which feels like a very indie European movie to make. Yeah. That coupled with the art style, it just does not feel like an anime there. So, but obviously it is. So I mean, it's just
it was directed by Katsuhiro Otomo.
Yeah. I did like this one, but it's still nowhere near as good as Magnetic Rose. Mm-hmm. So. I think this time all our lists are going to be the same. Magnetic Rose on top, Cannon Fodder second, Stink Bomb third. Is anybody going against that?
No.
I'm staring at Brock. I'm staring daggers at him.
I just have a sweat being like, no.
He says Stink Bomb first.
God.
I have bad takes. It's not that bad.
Stink bomb number 1.
Okay. At the beginning of this, when I was describing what I wanted the structure to be, Alex, you said, like, this might be a pretty short episode, eh? And I'm like, no. We're going to be getting at least 16 different opinions here. And then now...
I was implying, though, if depending on how much spoiler we did.
Yeah. Which we didn't, like, go plot for plot, but I wanted to talk about the themes. I wanted to go off on my thoughts on Paprika, what this amounted to.
That's like 50% of the episode.
Like, I hope it was enjoyable. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Okay. Not just watching the movies, I mean recording the podcast.
Oh, no.
No fun recording the podcast. That's died out of you. Is there anything else I need to say before I go through my ending spiel?
I don't think so.
Okay. You can follow us on Twitter if you want, at @anime_territory. You can find us on YouTube and any podcast platforms probably any of them that you can think of, the big ones at least, as Anime Territory. And then you can't follow Brock or Alex anywhere. They're off the grid, so don't try to find them. We're recording this in a bunker in Alaska, so just...
Shit, you told them where we're at.
Yeah, they don't let us leave.
Or did I?
Dun, dun, dun.
Anyway, movie night's shifting away from anime movies, so it might be a while before we get them both on the podcast again. I don't know if we'll ever get you both on the podcast at the same time again, but it could happen.
The next anime movie that we watch.
I want you to watch Your Name, which we haven't done an episode on. So, but that's all my little spiel that I have.
You seen Your Name? Okay.
You're now leaving the anime territory.
Goodbye.